today with my dad, James, and we're going to interview him about drugs, specifically methamphetamines. Why did you start using meth?
Fit in.
Was it, when you mean fit in, do you mean like
Yeah. Well, the guys I was hanging out with.
How old were you when you started?
17. Yeah, but that was in high school when I started.
Okay. Did you say using meth affected any of your relationships with your friends or family?
Yeah, all my old friends, I didn't hang out with them anymore. I mean,
The good ones?
yeah.
Okay. What about family?
Yeah, they got where they didn't trust me.
When you did use it, how, like, what form did you?
I smoked it
Smoke.
and snorted it. And pretty much you.
Anyway, good.
I never shot up or nothing, but
I gotcha.
I was too scared of needles.
Did you make meth while you were younger?
Yeah, no, but I mean, like I said, that's what you always, it's the only way to get more
Yeah.
than just going out and buying it. And I didn't make enough money to pay for how much I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really what it was.
Was meth your go-to, or was it just...
Yeah.
Did it start out with meth?
No, I started out, started smoking weed, but then just get to hanging out with different people that are doing more, and like, I do it too. I mean, it's why you gotta watch who you hang out with. Drugs bad. Don't do drugs. Like I said, I started in high school, so yeah. Gotta be careful in high school.
Yeah. Would you say that was the worst drug you ever done, or?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you could go back, would you change everything? Like, change the decision to start?
I mean, yeah, as long as I could, like, I don't know, have the life I got now with my kids and stuff.
Aww.
I wouldn't want to do, you know what I mean?
When you were, like, getting high off of meth, like, what did it feel like?
Just like a bunch of energy at first.
Mm-hmm.
Then it just got to where you had to do it to feel normal.
Yeah. Was there anything else that motivated you to start using drugs, or was it kind of just to fit in?
Yeah, just to fit in, really. To fit in with the people I was hanging out with.
Yeah.
There was other people I could have been hanging out with and would have never even seen it, but they was going to give me probation. And I knew, like I say, I was tired of getting high then.
Yeah.
But I knew if they gave me probation, I wasn't going to quit.
Yeah.
I had to go where it'd be took away, and I couldn't get it no more.
Yeah. What was life like while you were using?
I really, couldn't keep a job. Wasn't nothing good about it.
So when you say you just can't really remember much, like when you were using?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, just because you're always just looking to get high.
Yeah.
How did you stay clean?
Well, I mean, like at first I just decided I didn't want to do it no more, and then I decided to focus on my family. And God helped me stay clean. For real. Even when I didn't know it.
Would you say that, like, you still ever get those urges, or do you feel like
No.
you've been completely, like...
I've been, I guess you'd call it delivered, but yeah, I don't have no desire to even think about what it would feel like to get high again.
Yeah. Your life, like, family life, like, was it normal? Like, did you go to church? Like...
Oh, I grew up. Yeah, I had a good life. Mom and Dad was good. I mean, it can happen to anybody.
We're here with my mother, Timberly, and she is also an ex-drug addict. So how old were you when you started using?
Using meth or using drugs?
Using drugs and meth.
5. My mother started giving me marijuana when I was 5 years old.
How old were you when you started using meth?
20.
So would you say that you got hooked by how your mom fed you?
Well, of course, I grew up in a harsh lifestyle. Like, there was always drugs and alcohol around. My mother was an alcoholic. My mother went through a lot. She got hit by a car when I was young, so I was the oldest child. There was no man in the house for years, so kind of all fell on me. She was in a wheelchair for a while, so I think I started smoking cigarettes when I was 9. They thought it was a joke to give me weed. They thought her friends all thought it was funny. I kind of grew up in that lifestyle. So my first husband, when me and him got together and I was pregnant with Alicia, your older sister, him and my mom and stepdad started doing meth. And I had never done it. And I was pregnant, so I couldn't try it. So after I had her, I had gained a bunch of weight, and I had seen my mom lose a bunch of weight doing it that year. And so I wanted to try it and see. I watched all them do it. And it was way better than watching them get drunk. So I was only like, I was 20 then. I was like 19 when I was watching them do it. So he was very mean, very controlling. That's when I started doing it, and I did it, and the first time I did it, I was up a week. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It made me feel way different. Like I had energy. I felt like it gave me a sense of self. Instead of finding my sense of self in the Lord, I found my identity in drugs.
Is meth like the hardest thing that you've done?
Yeah. A person that if I didn't like the way it made me feel, I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
It was weird. Because like drinking, I never really drank because I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I didn't never really drink. And I didn't like the way I would see other people act when they were drunk.
How did you use meth?
I started off snorting it. And then as the years went by, everybody started smoking it. So I started smoking it too. But I never did use needles. So,
did you ever get caught using?
well, I always thought that I was smarter than the cops. I was taught at a young age to never tell the cops anything and to, be scared of them, not to depend on them, but to fear them. So, that's the way I grew up, and that's the way I thought it was supposed to be. And, I had run-ins with the police officers many, many times. I finally went to jail when I was 34, got locked up for like 6 months, and they dropped the charges and let me out. And then in my mind, while I was sitting in jail, I was going to do better when I got out. But once I got out around everybody that I knew again, it didn't take a week. And I was right back into the lifestyle. And I always worked. But I was taught as a young kid to hustle, and the money would feed you. So I always hustled it too. So I always made money off of it. And I thought since I was making money off of it, I wasn't spending money on it, I would justify everything about it. I was a very sick child. And I was a child when I started, so, that's a child to me.
What was the longest time that you spent a night in jail or spent time in jail?
When I was 36, they sent me to prison for 2 years. And then when I got out of prison, I spent 18 months in a rehab. So, and that was the first time in my life I had been clean. I was clean for 8 years. 8 years. When I got in prison, I got sat down and I got my kids stripped out of my life for the first time in my life. I always vowed to be a better mom, but I wasn't. I mean, if you really lay it out, I wasn't. I always thought I was until I got clean and realized that I wasn't. Like I said, I was clean for six years after I got out, and because the 2 years that you're in it counts, but I guess it does count because you can always get drugs in jail and in prison. So I did learn how to read my Bible when I was in prison and how to have a personal relationship with Jesus. And when I got out, I did let the world steal it from me. Like I got caught up in working all the time. I turned into a workaholic. I would work 16-hour days, and I don't know what happened to me, honey. I guess I let go. I wasn't reading my Bible anymore, and the old ways just crept back in, and before I knew it, I was right back doing the same stuff again. So it was sad. Thank God that it wasn't for long. It wasn't for long. It didn't last long at all. It's like God kept calling me. So sometimes I'm stubborn. Sometimes He had to set me down for me to hear Him.
That's okay, because you're still clean now. So.
Yes, I thank the Lord every day for it. And I stay right next to Him now. And I stay in church. And it's funny because when I stopped this time, I did it with just me and Him. It wasn't jail, it wasn't rehab. If I was dealing with jail or parole or anything like that, it was like I couldn't stop because they were trying to force me to. So I don't know. But once all that was done, and it was just me and Him.
How many years now have you been clean?
I have been completely clean for 2 years now, of everything. I never dreamed in my whole life that I could be completely clean of everything. This time I don't even smoke cigarettes. So it's been 2 years. Cigarettes, meth, weed, everything is gone. So, and I'm very grateful to the Lord because He's done it for me. And I do know not to let go of Him.
What effects has it had on you physically, long term?
Like physically?
And mentally?
Mentally, it's been a battle trying to get out of that mindset, that lifestyle mindset. I've really had to reach out to the Lord and to people in the church. I go to Celebrate Recovery every week. That helps a lot. Being around people that love the Lord like I do and has battled these battles helps a lot. So I would guess, I would say the mental effect that it had on me was the hardest thing to get out of. I've seen a lot of people have a lot worse mental issues off of it. I've seen people be schizophrenic. I've seen people lose their minds on it. I've seen people die from it. I've seen people eat up from cancer that I used to hang out with. And it was no doubt in my mind that it was meth that caused it. A lot of my friends that I hung out with, and we started doing meth together, because it was like it come in, and it was like a big, everybody started doing it. You know what I mean? So a lot of those people died at young ages, and they, cancer, heart attacks, but it was. I know one person that walked into somebody's house that they didn't even know because they were so messed up on meth, and they got shot to death. So it causes a lot of death and heartache and loss. Another thing, long-term thing that it has done is the relationship with me and my kids. It's been hard to build that back up, and the trust, and the Lord He's helped, and He's done it. They're in my life, and I'm blessed for that. But it wasn't easy on them. Their dad went to jail for it, and as soon as he gets out, then I get took away for a couple years too, and I hate it. I'm so glad that they hate it. I'm not glad that they had to go through it, but I'm glad that it didn't have the opposite effect on them. We're blessed for that.
Was there a specific thing that influenced you to keep going, keep doing drugs? And
I was very functional. I thought that nobody knew I was doing it because I could function with it and not spend money on it, so it didn't hurt my finances. You know what I mean? Until I would go to jail.
Yeah.
So even when you think you're doing it the right way, it's still the wrong way. It messed with my mind a lot. I had a lot of wrong thinking, and I believe a lot of it was caused from being high all the time.
What would you say your worst experience is being in that type of life?
And I had a lot of bad experiences. Some of it was very traumatizing that I think could have happened either way. But I think the worst thing was dragging my kids through what I dragged them through, because I love them so much. And it's hard when you realize what you've done, how you could say you loved them. But I did. And that's what it'll do to you. It'll take everything you love the most and make you mistreat it. I did everything with them.
So
Besides using needles, I did everything with them.
So you made it yourself, right? How do you get to that point where you start to make it?
Well, when you lived the lifestyle I lived, it was all about the lifestyle. If you made it, you had it yourself. You can make money off of it, and you get with a few friends you trusted and get to run around and gather all the ingredients, and you will be the person, and you know what I mean? It made you feel like you were somebody. And really, to real people you're not, but to people in that lifestyle you was. Honestly, because there at the very end I was like, I'm not hurting anybody. I work every day, I do everything I'm supposed to, I stay home, I'm not hurting anybody. And it was really, I really believed that I wasn't hurting anybody. But I don't know, I just kept getting this nagging feeling, telling me to throw it away. Something I would never do. If I decided I wanted to quit, I'd give it away. But no, throw it away. You can't give that to somebody. That's even worse. It is God. I know it was, or else I would have given it away and not threw it away. So that's the only explanation I got for you. I wanted, everybody told me I was different. I didn't believe them. I didn't believe that I was any different when I was on it than when I wasn't. And I didn't believe anybody could tell the difference. So I guess it was self-deception. But all I can say is that still small voice, baby, that kept nagging at me. That I had to do it for my family and for me, so I had to take the steps, you know.
What did it feel like whenever you used?
I had tons of energy, and I felt like I knew, like I could concentrate on stuff very easily, like I could focus very easily. Coming off of it, I've had a lot of issues with keeping energy up. I've had to be okay with stuff not being clean all the time or the way I want it all the time. Like when I was on it, I felt like I could stay on top of everything. But really I wasn't. I just felt like I was. And I could go enough to make it look like I was. But in the long run, it would all fall apart anyway. I would spend hours doing something that I could have probably done in 1 hour. It would just hide stuff that I didn't want to, So, would I say that if I grew up different, that I would have been different? Is that what you're asking me? I don't know, honey. That's a good question. I don't want to say yes because you don't really know. I knew some people that grew up with a good mom and dad, you know what I mean, that still fell into it just as hard as I did, if not harder. I don't want to use that for an excuse anymore. I used that for an excuse for years for my actions. So I think it's just something that I fell into. And it was hard to get out of, so I'm blaming the drug now.
If you could go back now to any part of what you just explained, what would you redo or erase?
I would have never started doing that. I had enough issues to try to deal with, and I would have probably been able to deal with them a lot sooner in life if I would have never started on meth. I don't think my children would have had to have went through me going to prison and all that, you know. So yeah, if I could go back, I'd go back to 20 and I'd never pick it up. I definitely would have been in the church house at 20 and reading my Bible instead of doing meth, yeah.
When you got out of prison, were you on parole, and how long were you on parole?
Yes, I was on parole. I was on parole for 5 years when I got out of prison. No, 6 years. Go figure. As soon as I got off parole, I guess it hadn't been maybe, it was right before I got off parole that I started to relapse. I started smoking weed first. And then I was working so much. And then people were contacting me from back home and coming up to where I was and bringing it up there. And I got weak. I was weak, and once I got started, once I start, I don't stop. Because I don't think anybody knows anyway.
With the people like you were with, like the friends you had and all that, would you say that they were like the biggest part that influenced you, or would you say that it was also just like the drug itself that influenced
I
you?
think it was both. If I wouldn't have started hanging around those type of people again, I probably wouldn't have started doing it again.
Yeah.
If I would have stayed in my classes and in my Bible instead of, getting back into the world. That's what happened to me. I got back into the world. It was all about how much money I could make, and I wasn't hustling anymore, but I was working so much instead of was selling drugs, I was hustling food. And so it takes changing your whole mindset to get out of, to escape that lifestyle, in my opinion. And the only way to do that is through a lot of prayer and a lot of understanding that you've been believing lies, and some therapy, and wanting to get out of that lifestyle. It's a combination of all of it, because once you get out, you want to stay out. You don't let yourself go around those kind of people anymore.
In total, how long were you using drugs and just meth in general?
From the time I was 20 till I was probably 45, so probably 25 years. I remember the last time I got arrested for it, I remember crying and asking them not to take my medication away, that I self-medicated, because I snuck, when they arrested me, I snuck some inside the jail, and somebody told on me, and they had to take me to the hospital to get it. And I remember begging that nurse to please not take it from me. And I mean, that was coming out of my heart. I really thought that I had to have it to function.